Hi, as we come to the end of the year, I know it's very possible that some of us are struggling with peace in us. And this is simply because of some of the struggles you are facing and having to endure in this very season. It's possible that you have been hopeful or you have been praying for a solution over the weeks that have passed, over the months, or even the years that have passed, and somehow your situation and your context has remained unchanged. I remember a statement that was made in a book that I read some years back when I was a young person, and this gentleman said that one of the things you cannot afford to lack in this life is what we call peace. And we know that the environment we live in, has one way or the other affected our lack of peace in our lives. When I read the scriptures, especially the book of Philippians, it's amazing when you get to hear how this gentleman called Paul fared in his season of trial and hardship. The Bible actually tells us that by the time he was noting down and writing down these letters to the various churches, and one of them including the letter to the church of Philippi, Paul was imprisoned, and you can find that in the book of Philippians chapter 1. He was in prison. So here he comes and he writes the book of Philippians to encourage the believers, to encourage the brethren, whom at that point, were going through much. The church in Philippi was undergoing persecution simply because in that specific area, it was renowned as a Roman stronghold, and they believed in the leadership of Caesar. Now, anybody who came declaring another king, and very well for believers and Christians then believed that Jesus Christ was king, it simply meant you went against the order of the day. So persecution was so real, and this is why when you read Philippians chapter 4, he comes and he tells them, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything through prayer, supplication, and thanksgiving, make your request made known to God. But what captured me is the verse that follows in verse 8, where he comes and he says this: finally, brethren, finally, church, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, Paul admonished us, think about such things. Think about such things. And now, the verse that follows, that is in verse 9, he says this: whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put it into practice, and the God of peace will be with you. And the God of peace will be with you. I can tell you this, folks, that, right there, this being the final exhortation, because if you read the scriptures, especially the NIV calls it the final exhortation. And some have said it is possible that when Paul was writing this letter to the church of Philippi, the book of Philippians, it was the last book that he wrote. So these were like his final words. And he comes and he gives us a snippet of where his solution lied. His solution lied in meditating on the things that he has laid out in verse 8. And this is why he says, put into practice the things that you have seen in me, the things you've heard me talk about, the way you have seen me live my life. Put it into practice. And right there, he gives us a glimpse and he says, by doing so, you will experience the peace of God in your life. Let me encourage you today. I may not know how your experience is or where you are right now in your life, but one thing I would love to assure you of this is that the peace of God is available for you. The peace of God is at your disposal and at my disposal. All we need to do, folks, is to think, it's to think and meditate on what is right, on what is noble, what is godly, what is pure, what is lovely, what is praiseworthy, what is excellent. Think about these things, because I can tell you this, many times, we basically slide into focusing on complaining. We focus on things that are not working. But today, those are not the words of Paul. Paul simply said, just move away from focusing on what's not working. Move away from complaining and focus on these things. By doing so, you will experience the peace of God in your life. So God bless you and do you good. And in case you'd love somebody to share and to stand with you with prayer, or to counsel with you, we here at CITAM Church Online are always available. The Lord richly bless you.